Welcome to the Man Cave Podcast. This is your escape for real, unscripted conversations about sports, hobbies, life, and storytelling. No scripts, no forced takes, just Man Cave talk. Now, here's your host, Dan Casper.
Let's continue our State of the Union, Wisconsin sports teams, and let's dive into the green and gold, the Packers. We are 2 weeks away. It is July 15th. We are 2 weeks away from the opening of training camp. When we look at this Packers team as of right now, we know things could change. Maybe they tinker a little bit with the roster. The roster is obviously going to be cut down. Maybe they add different players after roster cutdowns. Who knows? But right now, this is what we have to look at. I think when you look at this roster, I think it's a roster that is good enough to compete for a Super Bowl. Now, there's questions across. I'm not going to deny that. I'm not going to ignore that. There's definitely questions. Some of it is health related. How quickly can Micah Parsons come back? Will Micah Parsons still look the part of Micah Parsons? Tucker Kraft, same thing. Josh Jacobs' situation, is he going to be able to play or not with his legal stuff? Is that what's the latest on that? It's been pretty hush-hush and quiet. Is the offensive line going to play better? Are they going to be better? Are they going to be a top unit? Can they protect Jordan Love? Can they do better in run blocking? Defense, without Micah Parsons, are they going to be able to generate a pass rush? What about the corners? I think if this team hits on all of its potential, and that's the key word in this thing, the potential. And I know that's a very popular word in the sports world is potential. But this is what I truly believe with this Packers team. I truly believe that if they hit on their potential, this is a championship caliber roster. So let's kind of break it down and go through this. And such. I think, if we start State of the Union quarterback-wise, okay? I think for a football team to be successful, you have to have a good starting quarterback. And I know the Jordan Love debate has been hot this week. It's been all across the board. Is he a top 10 quarterback or not? Thanks to the ESPN top 10 rankings. To me, in my opinion, yes, he's top 10. Top 5? No, I would not put him top 5. I'd put him within top 10, though. Probably between 8 and 10. If I'm just going off the top of my head without thinking about it too hard. But I think he's a top 10 quarterback. But the main question should be not is he a top 10, a top 5. The main question should be, is he a quarterback that can lead you to a championship? That's all I care about. I don't care if he's top 5. I don't care if he's top 3 or if he's the best quarterback in the league. I don't care. The only thing I care about is, can he lead me to a champion? Can he lead my team to a championship? Now, you could say, well, you have to be a top 5 or top 10 team to lead your team to a championship. Okay, I get what you're saying there. But you don't get awards, you don't get Lombardis, you don't get rings for statistically or just from experts saying you're top 5. I just want him, is he good enough to be a championship caliber quarterback? And I think yes. Okay, got that. We're good. Next thing, we have a championship caliber quarterback. What do we need next? He needs help on the offense, right? What about the offensive line? It starts there. I don't care how much football has changed over the years. It is still in the trenches game. Offensive line, defensive line. And when I look at this offensive line for the Packers, it's an unknown for me. Zach Tom's great, but that's another guy coming back from an injury. Zach Tom is the most for sure thing on this offensive line, but he even has a little bit of a question mark. Jordan Morgan's a first-round pick, and he's going to get the crack to be the, showcase that, hey, I'm the long-term fixture at left tackle. He's been on the roster for a couple of years now as a rotation backup in playing guard. All right. It is time to answer the bell. It is time to answer the question, are you, sir, the long-term starter at left tackle, the blindside spot? Because if not, you got to reset that and find a new one. You get 1 year to show it. You look at guard, Aaron Banks. A lot of money on there. Ooh, hasn't been great. Sean Ryan's coming back at center after filling in last year. And then Anthony Belton, second-year guy. Burton, the rookie, he's going to be in play to be a starter. There's potential there, but it's also an unknown. I'm a little bit nervous about the offensive line, if it's going to work out this year. Definitely nervous about the running backs. Without Josh Jacobs, this is a very, 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 very big question mark. Huge question mark. If Josh Jacobs is there, great. But then there's still question marks behind him. What if injury, Josh Jacobs? Marshawn Lloyd has talent. It's just the guy can't stay healthy. You can't assume that he's going to be healthy this year. You can't assume that he's going to be available. You have to be available. Not trying to be negative against him or too tough or whatever it is. He's got to show that he can stay healthy and be available. There's a lot riding on Marshawn Lloyd this year. Even if Josh Jacobs is cleared and he's going to play, there is a ton riding on Marshawn Lloyd this year. He is the primary backup. Wide receivers, I feel good about. I feel good about the wide receivers. I feel good about Christian Watson, Jaden Reed. I feel good about. I think Matthew Golden's going to have a very good season this year. Savion Williams is being talked about as a X factor type of guy. I think this is an important year for him to showcase why Green Bay spent a third-round pick on him and showcase that he can be that X factor, whether it's involved in jet sweeps or in the passing game. Tucker Kraft, I'm not a doctor. I'm not with him. I don't know the recovery process, but everything that we've heard and have seen, I feel like Tucker Kraft is going to be good to go this year, and he's going to pick up where he left off last year. Tucker Kraft, to me, is easily a top 10 tight end in this game. Easily. There should be no questions. This is a guy that can block. This is a guy that could do your tight end sneaks if you want to. He's a great inline tight end, great in the passing game, great at yards after catch, the yak. Again, this is just a gut feeling. I feel like he's going to be good to go this year. So from an offensive standpoint, if we kind of break it down by offense, defense, and special teams, let's do that. Offensively, players-wise, quarterback, I'm good. Receivers, I'm good. Tight ends, I'm good. Running back, outside of Jacobs, a little nervous. Offensive line, I'm nervous. Play caller, Matt LaFleur, head coach. Might as well just bring him in right here. He's got the contract extension. He's going to be around here for at least a couple of years. I do think at times he, from some fans, gets a little unfairly criticized, but there's definitely criticism surrounding Matt LaFleur. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve any. He deserves plenty. This is a team this year that has to finish games, and it starts with him. It starts with Matt LaFleur. It starts from the head coach. Why in the world can we have these games where we start off really well, the Bears playoff game, and you can't finish? What in HE double hockey sticks is going on with that? You have to figure that out. Is that the offense? Not all gas, no break? Is it defensive collapses? Whatever. Matt LaFleur has to figure that out. That cannot happen anymore. It can't. Unacceptable. Finish games. Offensive standpoint, I want to see this offense take a step. I felt at times it was a little stagnant. I felt at times last year that, okay, hey, we're doing some cool stuff, and then got away from it. Got a little too predictable at times. We got to get back to the creativeness of Matt LaFleur. We got to get back to where, his first year with Jordan Love, that second half, where he was one step ahead of the opposing defensive coordinator. When Matt LaFleur is in that rhythm and he's in that zone, he is one of the best play callers in the game. But we need consistency now. Let's get back to some more play action. Maybe put the ball into Jordan Love's hands a little bit more. That seems to be a thought process from a lot of people out there. Put the ball in Love's hands more. And that was something we talked about last year too. I think Matt LaFleur is a good coach. I think he is a good play caller. But there's no question there needs to be steps taken. There needs to be improvement taken. There needs to be improvement from the play calling standpoint. There needs to be consistency. There needs to be maybe a little bit more creativeness. And there needs to be more accountability when it comes from the head coach in terms of finishing games. Finishing games. Accountability. I think this is, even though he's got the extension, let's revisit Matt LaFleur maybe after 2 more seasons. I honestly feel like that's the window. I don't know how long that extension is. I know there's been some reports out there a few years, but, we know how contracts work. So I'm comfortable with Matt LaFleur at coach. I still got questions. I don't think, I do think he gets a little too criticized from some fans, but he deserves some of it too. I do think this is a 2-year window for him. But this is a big year. The biggest thing that I need to see different from Matt LaFleur is just accountability and finishing this flipping games. I'm tired of these second half collapses, fourth quarter collapses. It's annoying. It's frustrating. Can't do it anymore. Defensively, the biggest change, you got Jonathan Gannon now as your new defensive coordinator, replacing Jeff Hafley. So, former head coach of the Cardinals, former defensive coordinator with the Philadelphia Eagles. You have an experienced guy coming in. And I think and he wasn't I shouldn't say he wasn't a flashy hire because he was a name. But a lot of Packers fans obviously wanted Jimmy Leonard. And now Jimmy Leonard's the defensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills. So, just naturally, a lot of Packers fans, they're going to be comparing the defenses of the Buffalo Bills and the Packers. Jonathan Gannon versus Jimmy Leonard. That is going to happen. Outside of that, the Packers, I thought, added some good veteran assistant coaches on the defensive line, or on the defensive part, to hopefully, maybe, get the most out of this defense. They added Bobby Babich, former defense coordinator with Buffalo, actually interviewed to be the Packers defense coordinator a couple years ago. He's a secondary pass game coordinator. They're bringing in Daniel Bullocks, cornerbacks coach, coming over from San Francisco. They still got DeMarcus Covington, who has defensive coordinator experience with the New England Patriots. They're bringing in Sam Cephas as their new linebackers coach. So, new voices in that defensive room. Will it translate on the field? I think, the defense, when I look at it, we know about Micah Parsons, but by all accounts, he's going to miss the first few games of the season. And we are just hoping and praying to the football gods that Micah Parsons, when he returns to the field, that he will be the Micah Parsons that we saw last year, a defensive player of the year candidate, a complete game wrecker. That is the hope. And that is what we are praying to Vince Lombardi for. When he returns, that he is good to go. Not lost a step. He is still the same Micah Parsons, that dominating football player. Without Micah Parsons, you look at this team and you're like, I think from safety position, to me, is probably the position group that I'm most comfortable in. You got X back there, Xavier McKinney. I think Evan Williams has continued to take a big leap. I trust those two at the back end. Javon Bullard is on there. He's listed as a nickel corner. Javon Bullard played great last year. Edgerrin Cooper, I'm expecting a jump from him in year 3. Dude is a great linebacker, one of the better young linebackers in this game. One of the better linebackers overall, off-ball linebackers in football, in my opinion. Zaire Franklin comes in to replace Quay Walker. That, to me, is going to be an interesting thing to watch. I think the one thing with Quay Walker during his time with Green Bay, I don't think there was any question about his athleticism. I don't think there was a lot of questions about, okay, this guy can be a really good linebacker. It was the consistency part of it. Can he, week in, week out, game in, game out, just put together a string of really good performances? And that seemed to be the thing that he struggled with the most. So with Zaire coming in, a guy that has been doing it for a while, I know he's coming off of a down year with the Colts. There's been some talk. Was it a defensive philosophy change that resulted in that? But with Zaire coming in, the veteran, can he provide that kind of stabilization, that stabilizing force on the off-ball linebacker group? I'm excited to see Zaire and Edgerrin together. I'm excited to see those two guys paired up, to see what they can do on the defensive side, because with no Micah Parsons for the first few weeks of the season, I think it's going to be very crucial for those two guys, along with Xavier McKinney and Evan Williams, to play their butts off and to be big parts of this defense. But it boils down again, like what we were talking about the offense. I don't care how much the game has changed over the years. It is still a game that is played and won in the trenches. This defensive line group. You've got Devontae Wyatt, who I think is their best defensive lineman, and he has shown glimpses. Again, his issues have just been, can the guy stay healthy and on the field? You're bringing in Hargrave, a veteran. Does he got enough left in the tank for just a couple more years? Carl Brooks is on there. You've got, and then it's sprinkled in with, guys that, like Jonathan Ford has been around for a while, but stops in Green Bay, Chicago, then Green Bay again, right? And then you kind of look at Chris McKellen, the rookie, how much of a contribution you get from him right away. Jordan Riley came in last year, Nazir Stackhouse. If you've got concerns or questions about this defensive line, I'm with you. I don't think this is a defensive line that can afford to go through injuries this year, because the depth, I don't think it's there. I would have liked to have seen maybe Green Bay do just a little bit more in terms of depth. Now, okay, they traded Colby Wooden to bring in Zaire. They sign Hargrave. And then they draft Chris McKellen. Okay, so maybe did a little bit more than what they did last year. Great, but was it enough? Was it enough? That remains to be seen. How can Green Bay, how can Jonathan Gannon get the most out of this defensive line? Can he draw on some of his experience with Philadelphia? That was a big reason why Philadelphia was so good, won a Super Bowl, and I know they didn't win it with Gannon and such, but that defensive group, that defensive line, the depth that they had there, is there something he can take away from that to get the most out of this group? Stopping the run, providing some interior, up the middle pressure. And speaking of pressure, outside of Micah Parsons, you look at the edge rushers and, okay, a lot is on the shoulders of Lucas Van Ness. No more waiting. It is time. The time is now for Lucas Van Ness to show that he can be a premier pass rusher in this league, that he could be a starting pass rusher in this league. The time is now. It has to happen. And I look at the first few weeks of this season and, all right, all hands on deck. I don't know what Barryn Sorrell is going to be like. I'm curious and I'm intrigued with him from a little bit that we saw last year. I think he's got a great motor on him, and I think he's got a great attitude. I'm excited for him to get more opportunities. Is he ready for that? Colin Oliver, the mini Micah, same thing. Great motor. All he did in college was sack the quarterback. Missed a ton of time last year recovering from injury. He's going to get an opportunity. What about Danny Dennis-Sutton, the rookie from Penn State? Brenton Cox Jr. Time is now for him, too. He's been on the team for the last couple of years as an undrafted guy. I think he is better suited for a 3-4. Time is now. There's going to be opportunities for these guys to make their mark, especially in the early part of the season. And the Packers, they need these guys to make their mark. Especially, with even when Micah comes back, will it be a little bit of a ramp up? Either way, they're going to rotate guys in. These guys got to step up. They may be young, they may be inexperienced, but they got to step up. And then you look at the corners. Oh. Corners. Keyshawn, got to play better than last year. You want to be a number one corner? You can't play like you did last year. Carrington Valentine, dude, get tackle. I mean, this is, if it's not pass rushers that you're worried about, you're probably concerned about corners the most. Brandon Cisse, their first pick, but he was a second-round pick. I think eventually he's going to be a starter. I don't know if he'll start the season as a starter, but I think as the season progresses, he's going to be a starter. Damani Jackson is another rookie, 6th-round pick out of Alabama. I think he, just when you just look at the group here, it's like Benjamin St-Juste. He's coming over from the Chargers, experienced. So when I look at this group, usually you see teams carry 6, 7, 8 corners. I think you've got 4 for sure locks with Keyshawn, Carrington, Brandon Cisse, and Benjamin St-Juste. I would be confident in Damani Jackson, maybe a couple more after that. Where the heck are they going to come from? Is it going to be, like a Jalen Simpson? Yes, you got Javon Bullard technically listed as the slot guy, but the corners I'm a little concerned about. Not a little concerned, I'm a lot concerned about. I'll be real. And I guess if we were to kind of do what keeps me up at night, specifically for the defense, is can they be consistent? Can the corners do their job? Can we generate a pass rush? Can we stop the run? There's a lot of unknowns at this point that I don't know. Again, kind of like with the offense, I think the potential is there. I think when we look at the potential of this team, I still believe this is a championship caliber team. It's just the thing that keeps me up at night is going to be kind of the same thing with the offense. Can they close out games? Are we going to get to a point where, okay, we're up by 5. Green Bay's up by 5. And the defense is out on the field. Are we going to be feeling good about our defense holding them out of the end zone? Probably more so when Micah's out there, but it's got to be more than just Micah, too. Will we feel good if that opponent is starting at their own 20? There's 2 minutes left on the clock. They ain't scoring. They ain't driving 80 yards to get in the end zone. That's what I want to feel like. Looking at the special teams now. Cam Acord, we got a new special teams coordinator. The Packers got a new special teams coordinator. Rich Bisaccia out. Cam Acord in. We'll see if that works. I mean, you got a new kicker, Trey Smack. You got a new special teams coordinator. We got a new returner with Sky Moore. A lot of newbies. Daniel Whelan is probably the only thing that I'm the most confident in on special teams, the punter. That dude, I'm good. I am completely A-okay with the Irishman. That guy, with his distance, with his hang time, inside the 20, no issues. He's one of the better punters, I feel like, in the league. I'm nervous with a rookie kicker. Again, with like a lot of this with the Packers, there's potential there with him. He's got a leg. He's got the ability. It's kicking at Lambeau is different. And I don't know if I could go through, like many Packers fans, I don't know if we could go through another up and down type of season and go through the highs and the lows when it comes to our kickers. Just can't. Can we find the next Mason Crosby? I hope Trace Mack is the next Mason Crosby. I really do. I want to go 15-plus years with the same kicker. Because that means we got a pretty good one. We've got a successful one. And let's keep it going. We have struggled to find a replacement for Mason Crosby. Brandon McManus was good for a hot minute. Stabilized it at a time of big need. Well, he's gone now too. So, Trace Mack, it's your job, man. It's your job. And I don't want to be in a situation during this season again where we're saying, oh, we're sitting there nervous about kickers. I mean, I'll always be nervous about a kicker. I don't care who it is. But when you add in it's a rookie kicker, the nerves are going to be there big time. Sky Moore, I think, I don't know if Keyshawn is going to return kicks at all. I'm assuming Sky Moore is going to be the guy. I like that they went out there, and I like that they got him to go. Just at least we have a little bit of a threat. A little bit of a threat in the return game, whether it's punting or kicking. They have changed the rules in kickoffs so much where they want returns to happen. We have to have a little bit of a threat with that now. If you're going to cater to Keyshawn Nixon, where he's just going to focus on defense, you gotta replace him. And we can't go into a playoff game with Josh Jacobs and returning kicks because you need something. That can't happen anymore. So I like the fact that they went out there, they did something about it. They went out there and brought in at least somebody who has experience and somebody who is at least a little bit of a threat. It's really hard to kind of scout at what a new special teams coordinator is going to bring to the table. What Cam is going to do to this group that was different than Rich Bisaccia. A lot of it is just, okay, who are the players he's going to have? Who are the players that are going to be open, allowed, eligible to play on special teams? It starts there. But I think one thing that Cam has to do is to get people to buy in. Buy in to playing special teams. And that might just have to be more from Cam. That might have to be from an organizational standpoint. Buy in. You want to be on this team, you have to play special teams. If you're a back end of the roster guy, you want to make this team, it's got to go old school. You got to play special teams. You got to have that. I want a fast flying, physical, aggressive special teams group. I don't want stupid penalties. I want a very disciplined special teams group. So sick and tired over the years of holding on a kick return to open up the game. It felt like how many times that happened. Stupid penalties. Putting your offense in a tough situation when there's no need to. Fair catches, penalty. What are we doing? So I guess for Cam, what I want to see from a State of the Union here is discipline, fast, and a commitment to play special teams. It's an unknown. It's a big unknown. There's a lot of changes in this group from some of the big positions, the coordinator, the returner, and the kicker. Daniel Whelan, we're good. Punter's good. But there's a lot of changes elsewhere. Protection, it's got to be up to snuff too. There was too many times for my liking where that pressure got through. And I think that goes to discipline, accountability, that commitment. So I guess to sum it all up now, as we wrap up the Packers portion of our State of the Union, I'll go back to that P word, potential. I truly believe that this is a team that has talent to compete for a championship. But the thing that keeps me up at night is going to be, can they finish games? Are they going to be able to do what they couldn't do last year and finish those games? I feel they have the quarterback to do it, to go win a championship. They've got the difference maker on the defensive side. Yep, we're going to be really watching when Micah Parsons comes back if he's going to be vintage Micah Parsons. I think they got enough tools. But the other thing that would be keeping me up at night is that I don't think this is a team that can have too many injuries. Now, you can say that for a lot of teams. And injuries are a big factor in whether your team is going to be hoisting the Lombardi Trophy or not. But you look at running back, tight end, defensive line, corners, edge rushers. If you're nervous about the depth, I'm there with you too. So that would be the other thing that would keep me up at night is this is a team that can't suffer too many injuries because I'm a little nervous on that aspect. But if everything clicks, they've got the talent to be there in February. They do. They really do. And I think going forward, this is going to be a franchise, kind of like when we were talking about with the Brewers here a little bit going forward, the outlook. The window is now. The window is now to go capture another championship, to capture your 5th Super Bowl trophy, to capture your 14th World Championship. The window is now. When you add a Micah Parsons like you did last year, when you have a quarterback, and you have pieces surrounding that quarterback, and you got other pieces elsewhere, you have a roster that can. Is there some holes? Yes. There's going to be holes on every team. Some are going to be bigger than others. But the window is now. Goody said it a couple years ago. It is time they start living up to this. It is time to compete for championships. It is not good enough to just go to the postseason if you're the Green Bay Packers. That's not the expectation. The expectation and the goal is to win trophies, to win championship trophies. Like the Brewers, I don't want to sound like a spoiled fan, but it's great that our team is consistently competing for championships. This is going to be a very tough NFC North again this year with good competition. Bears are going to be there. Lions are going to be there. Vikings are going to be a tough team. I don't care what you say. They'll be a formidable opponent. But the window is now. And making it to the playoffs, while it's great, and I never, ever, ever, ever want to take that for granted, you got to make the postseason and then give yourself a chance. That should be the goal first. Make the postseason, give yourself a chance. But it's got to be Super Bowls. Now is the time. That window is now to win championships. Have to do it. Again, I don't want to sound entitled. I don't want to sound spoiled. I'm not taking these playoff runs for granted. I'm not taking it for granted that they make the playoffs. But like the Brewers, even more so than the Brewers, though, you got to add trophies now. Got to win championships.